check 1 2, check 1 2, check. Let me know if you hear that. Everything on my side shows that we should have audio, so I'm not sure why y'all aren't getting it. So let me know if you can hear me now. All right. Hey, there we go. Okay. Man, listen, we were a little worried. Okay. All right, let's try that again, folks. Check. All right, cool. Wearing some baseball drip. Yeah. Hey, real quick. Namu Wonderling, for those who don't know, man, that's my nephew / godson, Nair. Clap it up real quick for Nair. It is wish Nair a happy belated born day. Yeah, man, he's a supporter of the channel, but more importantly, he's family. So, man, clap it up for him. Yeah. Hey, DJ Mister, every time, fam. What's really crazy is it's harder to fix these things when everything on your end shows that it should be working. So I literally just unplugged the stuff, and then literally the settings are the same as they were before. So it was super frustrating. But it looks like the technical issue we were dealing with last week, which was the last 2 weeks, actually, where it seemed to be a delay in the audio and the video, like they weren't syncing up. Hopefully that's not a problem today. Y'all let me know if it is. But yeah, man. But yeah, once again, happy belated born day to Nair. Love you, man. Hope all is well. Nair is officially 21, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man. But let's real quick shout out to everyone in the chat. Let me run through all of the things I said before that no one heard. Let's see. First and foremost, peace to everyone in the chat. Once again, peace to Nice Afro. Ousted, man. I'm glad you can get a little joy from these joints. Peace to Tommy Hackett. Peace to Shamar Penguin. What's going on? Peace to you. Joshua McGee in the building. Shout out to all of y'all that was cooking me in the chat. All the jokes. Early Bird, peace, bro. Good to see you up in here. Also, DJ Mister. And yeah, I think I got everyone, at least from our YouTube crew. Tommy Hackett, peace to you. Nair, of course. Yeah, I think I got. Hey. Shout out to Soul Tiger as well. So yeah, man. Let's get into it. Lot to cover today. First and foremost, let's switch up these visuals real quick. Let's bring up this. So first things first, let's climb it up for the joint Arsonist. Arsonist is my latest single from the mobile game Arknights. I've had the pleasure of doing at least 5 songs for them, as I've mentioned over the last few weeks. And yeah, man, this song just dropped not even a month ago. I think it might have been exactly a month that it's been out, and it's already done 100K in terms of streams just on Spotify alone. On YouTube, it's already like close to like 400, 500K. I just haven't received the official song stats notification. I think they're waiting for the 500K mark. But yeah, man, big things. Really proud of how well the song is doing, how well received is doing. Something I've been thinking about doing is like reaction videos to people's reaction videos, because I find it fascinating that reaction videos is even a thing, but certain people personalities are so big that that it's just like when I watch it, I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. But when I first heard that was a thing, you know, typical old man hating, like, how, son, you got a whole career off of this? But then you watch them like, yeah, yo, like your response is better than the video sometimes. But some of these reaction videos, man, just to see the fandom, because I know some of my fans aren't necessarily, a good majority of my fans aren't necessarily my fans because of the Arknight game, but Arknights has built a reputation for making really solid soundtracks. And it's been dope to see the following of Arknights become fans of what I've been doing, at least what I've done for the games, and seeing some of you trickle over and become fans of what I do outside of the game. And so that's been really dope. And there was a couple cool videos that people posted, And I'm not sure if y'all have seen it or not, but I think it'd be cool to do reaction videos of their reaction videos. Just kind of, you know, showing y'all like how some of the folks who aren't necessarily a part of our community yet, we'll say yet, how they're receiving some of the music. So yeah, man, definitely really cool. Hey, thanks, DJ Mr. I would say listen to it first. I will say that about the music I do for them. It's not, depending on what you play on the station, it's not what my typical sound is. It sounds a bit more mainstream / polished because they have their own sound and own world that is very different from what I'm known for. But check it out. You might dig it. You know what I mean? It might fit. You know, listen, I ain't telling you what to play or what not to play. I don't do that to DJs. You know what I'm saying? I respect the DJ, you know, so what the DJ plays is what the DJ plays. But definitely check it out. Hope you enjoy it. Marco's peace. What's going on, Marco? All right. Alsted says, dude, the Arknights track hit over 350K in under a month. Started playing the game last week. Yeah, like it's really popping on YouTube. And keep in mind, these are strictly the social media and DSPs that are here in the United States that I'm referring to. I mean, granted, you know, Spotify's playing it globally, but what I mean is that, you know, you got other platforms and stuff in China and other countries that also have the song loaded to those platforms. And I don't necessarily get those numbers, but the game is more popular in these other countries than it is here. So it's really, really crazy to see, you know what I mean? But yeah, thank you, Austin, for pointing that out. But yeah, just wanted to update y'all on that real quick before we get into some other things. But what's it? Let's queue up this next thing. Couple reminders for y'all. Yeah. All right, so let's get this up here. Hey, clap it up for another one of the homies. You know, shout out to the family that's in the building. Nair's in here. Shout out to my brother Early Bird that's in here. Now we got the homie CM. Shout out to CM. CM is good people. Definitely good brother. All right, CM says, what it do, sub? Do the video game creators reach out to you, or do you submit your music to get it added to the game? I know it sounds like a flex, but it's the truth. I've been really fortunate. All of the video game opportunities I've done are people either reaching out directly to me or people who are affiliated with them being hit up saying, hey, I need some recommendations. And then they basically reach out to me and then do the introduction. So all of the video game credits that I've had thus far have been solely because of the fact that I've built my own following outside of these games and been putting out music consistently. And some of these people who grew up listening to my stuff ended up doing music for these games or being a part of this world, and have given me opportunities or pass my info on to others to help get me opportunities. So super grateful. That's not how it goes for everybody. I think a lot of people, I don't know if most, but I'm pretty sure a lot of folks are usually just, they reach out to it because there are people in the game world who know your stuff. But I will say the biggest thing that has gotten me the opportunities was making myself visible at conventions, right? So getting the chance to be at conventions, first just starting out as a fan at conventions, even though I was putting out music, and then realizing how many fans I had that were already at conventions, people who knew my music, which then led to opportunities when I met people who were fans of my stuff who also happened to work in that industry. And the next thing you know, shout out to Mason Lieberman. Mason Lieberman, he's the biggest contributing factor to that equation, who really opened that door for me. You know what I mean? Yeah, man. DJ Mr. T. Yeah, man. It's a blessing, dude. It's really, really dope to be able to expand in that world. I've been really lucky that, you know, I've had my music placed in several games at this point, but then also, you know, hoping to do more anime related stuff. You know, I've done a couple, like I've done some indie comic related stuff. I've actually, you know, all of y'all know about Animal Arithmetic, but there's actually another project that I've done that's being turned into an independent animation. And so, yeah, man, just did something behind the scenes for like these Evo soundtracks that they do. So hopefully y'all will have some info on that real soon. But it's been dope, man, being a part of this world and stuff as somebody who grew up a fan of just, gaming in general. It's been super dope. And then also having the opportunity to have my music in some films as well, small films, some webisode stuff, and some bigger projects and stuff. Shout out to Kokai, who had a bunch of music in one of Kevin Hart's films and happened to have one of the songs that I was on placed in the film. So if you ever watch Laugh at My Pain with Kevin Hart, you can see hear one of the songs I'm featured on Kokai's album with me and Tone Deaf, this song called 95. Highly recommend you check it out if you've never heard that joint. It's crazy. So that song gets placed prominently in the Kevin Hart Laugh at My Pain movie. And during the scene where they're talking about him going back and forth between Philly and New York. And then another film, an indie film with Simon Pegg. Shout out to Simon Pegg if y'all are fans of his stuff. Love a lot of his movies. But he had this small indie flick, I think was shot in Australia, called Kill Me 3 Times. When that film goes off, at the end, there's a song that comes on. And that song, that end credit song, is actually a song that I did with my brother, Jay Cast. Who's the son of the late, great Jimmy Castor. So if you're not familiar with Jimmy Castor, Just Begun, I'm pretty sure y'all know that song. But I'm good friends with his son, and we've done music together. So we have a song together produced by my brother Chu Fu. That's the end credit song. So yeah, man, like, it's just been dope. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people just know me as like this indie rapper, or they know me as the dude who worked with Nugent Best, the dude who was part of Q&5. Like, people know me different ways, but I've always, one of the best things they tell you to do in business is to create multiple revenue streams, right? Like, expand what you're doing and stuff. Don't be so, so laser focused on the one thing, because, this business shifts all the time, and there are new models that get introduced and a lot of old models that go away. So being able to kind of play in different areas and create different revenue streams is what's been able to sustain me. And it's the reason why, I got a career, and, 25 years in now, professionally, 25 years in, people still discovering the work because of these different opportunities, So count my blessings, you know what I mean? Yeah, man. Penguin says, your song We Had a Blast from the Game, Bread and Fred, is dope too. Man, hey, thank you. That's a deep cut right there. Yeah. I mean, of course, Penguin would know. You know what I mean? Penguin got the Penguin joint. I was joking on the last show, was talking about there's something about me and penguins. I don't know what it is, but so far I've done music for 2 different games that are Penguin related. I don't know what it is, but you know what I'm saying? Hey, listen. I ain't here to block blessings. You know what I mean? Shout out to Apogee for sure. Reached out to you to make that song. Yeah, shout out to my man Mason Lieberman. The Apogee was already working with him. Me and Mason have a great relationship, and so he connected the dots and brought me in on that. Yeah, man, super cool. Let's see. Nice. Not a gamer, but I need a new anime. Yeah, 100%, man. Definitely hoping to get more anime related opportunities. I've done some official tribute related projects for anime, one official one, and then one that was just a fan thing, but my hope is that more of those blessings happen as well, man. So we will see. Yeah, Alsted was saying check out the Jujutsu Kaisen. Definitely a dope joint to check out. Solo Leveling is a great anime as well. Haven't heard of that one, but I definitely will check it out. All right, so we're going to pivot real quick. Quick reminder for those of you who are in the DMV, or those of you who are in the music business and looking for, like I was just talking about, expanding different opportunities in music, learning how to better navigate the business, all of that. If you're not familiar, you should go ahead and sign up for the Sam Academy. Sam Academy is official music business courses that I offer through my company in collaboration with Crescendo Studios in Falls Church, Virginia. We do it the first Thursday of every month in person. However, we also do online classes. Some of them are pre-recorded, but our hope is to move into actual live recordings of them, so that way people can ask questions on the spot, and that way it feels more like the in-person class. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go to the link in the bio where it says like where it talks about events and stuff like that, bio.site/substantial. There'll be a link for it. If you want the direct link, that's just crescendostudiosva.com/Sam-Academy. I know that's super long, but all of that info is in the description of this video. But yeah, definitely check it out if you're a person who's serious about working in the music biz. Don't get it mistaken. Not everybody who's a mover and shaker in this business are super popular, right? While the public might not have the greatest idea of who I am, a good amount of artists that y'all know of, or industry people that you know of, have paid me behind the scenes to have me consult them or their artists, right? And I've also, for those who don't know, I'm a music business educator. I've been working in education for over 20 years, and specifically teaching music business courses for over 8 years. It'll be 9 years in September or October, something like that. So if you definitely want to learn from somebody who's been able to navigate this business independently, successful for 25 years, definitely worth checking out, to show you how to better understand and leverage streaming, but also how to do direct to consumer, how to set those things up, how to write press releases, how to what else do we cover? Oh my God, we talk about merch, which is the segue I'm about to make. Different ways you can present your merchandise, how to build not just your fan base, but your mailing list. All of these different things are things we offer in these classes. We also talk a bit about crowdfunding. Those of you in the chat right now have supported some of the different projects that I've crowdfunded. Fun fact, for projects that we've done for ourselves, it's funny, I misquoted us, but realized recently that for the longest we had raised around like somewhere around $20,000 to $60,000, not 20, pardon me, $40,000 to $60,000 for our company through crowdfunding. But then completely forgot to do some of the collaboration crowdfunding projects we've done, which when we add that to the mix puts our company closer to $100,000 in terms of what we've done for ourselves as a business for crowdfunding. But then when you add in our clients, like different companies we've worked with over the years, we've helped them, clients who are companies and individuals, we've helped them raise like roughly about $500,000 through crowdfunding. So if that's something you're trying to better understand, definitely you want to sign up for these classes. Last thing I'll say, my business partner / wife also does these classes with me. She has experience as a grants manager. So if you are artists who are looking for grant opportunities, or you're part of an organization that are looking for grant opportunities and you don't know where to start, you could literally take classes from a former grants manager and have a better understanding of how to do that. We've helped organizations make tens of thousands of dollars from getting grants as well. So, and that's money you don't have to pay back. So anyway, I'm gonna stop right there. Sam Academy, Crescendo CrescendoStudiosVA.com/Sam/ say it again. CrescendoStudiosVA.com/Sam-Academy. All right, if you want to get tickets for the in-person class or for the online class. And I'm done right there. On that note, peace. Hey man, we got Mega Ran in the building. Clap it up for my brother Mega Ran. Also, we got Luna Bunny in the building. All right. Let's see. Ousted says, facts, it's been an anime drought for me, thinking about rewatching Samurai Champloo or Naruto again. Oh man, shout out to Kev on Stage, well-known comedian and host who discovered Samurai Champloo recently and posted about it, and it's been going viral. That's been kind of cool to see. New Eminem, smash or pass? Hey, listen. I'm gonna smash the play button. You know what I mean? I'm gonna listen to M. I know a lot of people don't like M. I will say this. I do think something that happens is like, when people are when they're indie and undiscovered, we root for them, right? And then as they become like some of the top selling artists in the world, all of a sudden it becomes really popular to hate on them. That being said, I will acknowledge that I don't love everything that M does. You know what I mean? However, I'm never not a fan of what that dude does as an MC. He's, in my opinion, one of the greatest to do it, you know, straight up. And so I'm always going to listen to anything new that dude puts out just because he's one of the best to do it. And folks ain't got to respect my opinion on it, but arguably some of the most respected people in hip hop, both indie and mainstream, say the same thing. So there's some truth to it. You know what I mean? You hear anything enough times or whatever, there may be some truth to it, i.e. All these Puffy rumors we've been hearing for decades. But anyway, I digress. I'm definitely going to check out the new M. He's not really the type of thing I play on a regular basis these days. Younger me used to play M all the time. Early can confirm. I put a ton of dudes on the M in the 90s, you know what I mean, when I first discovered this stuff, because back then all we cared about was how dope the rapper was, and M has been consistently like one of the greatest to do it since most people discovered him. You know what I mean? You know, the albums sometimes leave something to be desired because, you know, he's bigger than he once was, so the stuff sounds a bit more mainstream. Ain't my cup of tea sometimes, but he's still nice. Let's not play games. But anyway, Early says, let me take this off the screen real quick because we changing subjects. Early says, I was going to holler at you about scheduling some studio time there later near the end of the summer, bro. Let's definitely talk, man. If you're interested, I don't know if you're talking about there as in my place or at Crescendo, but if you want to do some studio time at Crescendo, I can definitely do some introductions. You know what I mean? We'll make that happen. Yeah, it's a nice spot, man. Get some great content as well to record while you're doing it. Kev is getting into anime in general. Finally, been recommending Samurai Champ Lu to him. That's what's up. Yeah. Hey, shout out to you, David. Good to see you up in here. Juan, peace, man. Good to see you up in here too. Seeing some OG fans in the building, man. Always happy to see everybody, but especially those who've been rocking with me a long time. Do you listen to any new rap, like any of that Opium stuff? Yeah, all that kind of stuff. There's some new stuff I have heard. I can't like think of artist names off the top of my head, but if you want to gauge, you want to really gotta listen to some of the stuff I like, both new, old, young artists and older artists. If you're on Spotify, check out the Soulful Hip Hop playlist that I curate. It's curated by Substantial Art and Music, and also the homie Marvelous Jones. So check out that playlist. A lot of what I listen to is on that playlist. Of course, some of my stuff is in the mix along with some of the artists I'm affiliated with. Some of my favorite songs from some of the homies mixed with some of the more well-known artists or some indie artists. So I highly recommend checking out that playlist. Next week, we'll talk about the Soulful Hip Hop playlist and other things that I'm looking to do with the Soulful Hip Hop brand. So yeah, Mr. S, peace. What's going on? All right, welcome. Substantial and Eminem song possibility. Hey man, listen, I wouldn't be opposed to it. M don't know me though, and you know how that goes, man. You meet people. If you haven't met somebody before they're too big, chances of you being able to work your way in that circle and make that collab happen, it's kind of tough, but anything's possible. I never thought that Chuck D would know my name, but here we are, right? So, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna say it couldn't happen, but time will tell. Or J. Cole, Kendrick, Denzel Curry. So yeah, I definitely listen to Cole. I definitely listen to Kendrick. There's been some Denzel Curry stuff that I like. I don't listen to a ton of his stuff like that. But yeah. It's been a while, sir. Hey, Orion Song in the building. Clap it up. Yeah, man. Got the stars out today, man. Shout out to all the homies in here right now. Orion, man, send a prayer up for your boy, God willing. Hopefully before the summer's out, I might be out in San Diego. Might. It's not official. It was just information was sent to me yesterday. We're hoping that it pans out. We will see. All right. Lurio, Beatbox, peace. Watch it on Twitch, man. Good to see you up there. All right. Let's see. Monthicant. I'm not sure if I said that right. Monthicant. But peace, man. Thank you for watching. Says, this is my first time on your live stream. Will you do any tour? Yes, I will. Let me show y'all upcoming dates. Disclaimer before I show you these upcoming dates. All of them are East Coast, okay? But there will be some other things popping up. I'll give you a general idea of where some of the stuff that'll be popping up will be. I'm gonna hold off on promoting anything that's not confirmed, but everything that is happening right now for upcoming shows are East Coast for now. All right. So that being said, since we're talking about upcoming tours, I am on the road with the Nerdy People of Color. That is my brother Mega Ran, K Murdoch, DJ Rockman, Rizey K, Kadesh Flow, O Super, and we are joined by the homie Shadow. Right. So man, it's going to be super dope. We're performing in the following cities. Let's get these up here real quick. We will be in Washington, D.C. performing at make sure I say it right. We're at BlurredCon. We're at BlurredCon in Washington, D.C. We're performing Friday night, but we will have merch tables set up throughout the weekend. Then we're in Philadelphia on July 15th at Kung Fu Necktie. Then we go to Brooklyn, where we'll be at Elsewhere Zone 1. Then we're in Baltimore at Metro Gallery. Then we're in Richmond, Virginia at the Camel. I will not be at the Raleigh dates, but definitely go out and support the homies. Other dates that I got coming up that's not listed here, but let me point these out now. I'll be on, I'll be at Park Fest in Falls Church, Virginia, performing on Saturday, July 13th. And then on July 21st, which is a Saturday, I will be, July 20th, which is a Saturday, I will be at Omega Studios hosting their student showcase / open house. So for those of you who are based in the DMV who have been interested in getting certifications in audio engineering or looking for a really dope professional studio in Rockville, Maryland to possibly do studio time at, highly recommend checking out not just Crescendo Studios, but specifically Omega Studios, who I've been working with for nearly a decade. It's also where I've been a professional instructor there for nearly 9 years. And so, yeah, man, I'll be hosting an event there where it's former students all performing. Super dope because it's organized by a former student who's now an employee at Omega. So that's going to be dope. So definitely recommend coming through for that. More details coming soon. Just confirm that show this week or that event. Other events that are happening. August 2nd through the 4th, I'll be at Otakon in Washington, D.C. And then August 24th, I will be in I will be at Conjutsu, which is happening in Fairfax, Virginia. The day after that, I'm going on vacation for like a week. I'm heading to Morocco. We're going to talk about that. There is a chance I might perform while I'm in Morocco. Don't know. It's not confirmed, but there have been some talks. But I'm going out there technically for vacation. But, hey, man, I ain't here to block blessings. If something happens, something happens. So we will see. But, yeah, man, that's the confirmed events thus far. There's more stuff coming, something I'm doing with Discord that I might take that performance that is a private performance for them and possibly make it a online ticketed event that the public can check out later. And then what else? There was one other thing. There's another tour in the works. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to get y'all too hyped and tell you where it's going to be yet until it's confirmed. But there's another tour in the works. Yeah, man. And possibly, planning to go back to Japan a bit later than I initially anticipated. But yeah, man, lots of things going on. So that's that for now. Let's get to some more questions, and then we're going to talk about merch for a second. Thoughts on Miles and where his style fits in hip hop. Not familiar with Miles. I'm gonna have to look it up, or someone can send me a sample of their stuff in the DM on IG. If you send that to me, I'll be sure to check it out. But not familiar. Haven't even heard the name before. But that don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? I'm old. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time for all this shit. It's too much music, too much content come out nowadays. It's hard to stay on top of everything, but I'm gonna definitely check it out. Yo, Ryan, I was just listening to Beautiful Work. Love that song so much, man. I'm a 100% coming out if it gets locked in. Let me obviously know. If so, I will definitely keep you posted, fam. Beautiful Work on repeat. Man, thank you, fam. Keeping us in rotation, seriously. Orion is super dope. If y'all haven't heard him, check him out. Dang, I was about to play Beautiful Work right now. Definitely one of my faves. Thank you. Hey, Orion, I'm gonna hit y'all up, man, but I would like to add it to Adultish 2.0 so we can have physical copies of that if y'all are cool with that. You know what I mean? But we could talk offline about that. But yeah, don't listen to Miles, man. Spare yourself. Oh man, that does not have me excited about it. I'll tell you that much. It's the best thing when you go on vacation, but knock out a quick get, allowing which calls for expensing the whole trip. Enjoy Morocco. Hey, man, listen, that would be dope. You know what I mean? The great thing, the better thing is the fact that I'm at a point where I can afford, the wife and I can afford to go on a vacation, just us. Where we're celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary, which is coming up in September. So we're going out there a little bit before to celebrate. And yeah, man, it's a blessing to even be able to do things like that. You know what I mean? Younger me couldn't imagine doing things like that. But it's even doper when, because you are who you are. Like sometimes opportunities present themselves and stuff. And yeah, you could take something that you had to pay for yourself and then end up funding a thing, or at least a portion of it. So we'll see what happens. Either way, I'm not mad because I'm going to be in Morocco. So that's, yeah, man, counting our blessings, yo, straight up. Luna Buddy says, oh no, not Miles. Oh my God, y'all do not have me excited to hear this. Sad, no Seattle stop yet for sub on tour, but I get it. Trump was convicted, so I'm in a good mood. That's a conversation for another day. Don't count Seattle out yet. Like I said, there are some things in the works, but nothing confirmed. But the second it is, hopefully I have good news for you, fam. Let's see. But yeah, man, that conviction. I'll say this. I ain't trying to get off topic too much. Cause I know how sensitive people are about these things. Just so y'all know, y'all don't see me post and really giving a lot of energy in these settings to this stuff. It's not because I don't care. I just know that people engage in conversations differently when we know each other and when we are in the same space. And I think that people are way too comfortable online being disrespectful to people they don't know. People literally making judgments on folks' character and things like that without ever meeting them. It really speaks to, they think they are speaking to who you are, but it really says a lot more about them. Because I don't know any of y'all are cool enough here, but that don't mean anything. Y'all are nice in this setting, but for all I know, some of y'all could, you know what I mean? Some of you, Lord working on all of us. But yeah, man, some of y'all can have y'all issues. So I don't pretend. I mean, I just know how our interactions are here, but I don't pretend. I can't speak to who you are as a human being because a lot of you I have not met in person, right? And so even with me, y'all see me doing these things and stuff like that, and I'd like to think I'm a decent dude, but the reality of it is you only know me so well because you only see what I permit you to see, right? And you'd get a better idea of who I am by speaking to me in person, by seeing how I'm like, how I interact with others, and how, and also Okay. I don't know what just happened. See, this one, hey, look, start talking about politics, start talking about, they was like, old words, son. Old words, son. Hey, man, I don't know. I don't know. I'm just happy we back. But that was crazy. Ousted. Hey, man, thank you for the super chat. Funeral money for the streamer ending in such a tragic way. Listen, man, listen, I'm just happy we're back. You know, but thank you for the donation. That's a great segue. And let me say this real quick. So for those of you who want to support the channel, keep the lights on, keep me off these poles and my babies. You could do so by supporting via Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, or the super chat feature. So, man, thank y'all for contributing to the channel. But yeah, let me address a couple comments real quick and we'll keep it pushing. But yo, that was wild. Hold up. Let's get to these comments. Y'all are hilarious, yo. Y'all want a reaction. See, listen, let me say something real quick about reactions. I don't believe, I don't know how I feel about reacting to stuff that like I know I wouldn't like, right? Like going in with a preconceived notion. Simply because the one thing about the reaction stuff is, I think I would only share the ones where I'm like reacting to the stuff I really like. And my reason for that is I think one of the biggest problems we have as a culture is we spend a lot of time promoting things that are bad when there are better alternatives. And like there was a period of time where, where Lil Wayne was at the top of the food chain in terms of mainstream rap. And at the time, this is when we were marketing my Sacrifice album. And when you go back and look at like videos for like my favorite things or issue, I think there's a ton of comments in there. You could tell who the top rapper at the time is in those situations because people will be like, man, this is so much better than Lil Wayne. It was just like, or you could just be like, man, this is dope. I really like this. I wish we had more hip hop like this. That's all you gotta say. Why bring the thing that you hate? And that's a line. There's a line. What's her name? Rhapsody says on her new album where she talks about that same thing. It's like you don't have to hate on others to show me love. It's something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but yeah, man, powerful line. Hey, y'all comments, y'all comments, yeah. R.I.P. Babs put up prayer hands. Where did you go? Oh man. Video and audio stopped working. Okay. Here's the wild thing too is when it went out, I just kept talking because I didn't know if we still had audio or anything. I knew it went out because my camera went off and don't know why that happened. Do you keep the lights on funds along with the pole? Yes, sir, I do, man. Yo, you funny. You were funny. Been eyeballing the We Met in Tokyo hoodie in white on Bandcamp all month. Come on through. Come on through. All right. So look, let's get this back up here. Let's talk about merch real quick. All right. So those of you on YouTube, you probably saw the thing in the chat where it's talking about, where it talks about the whole thing, about like whether you buy cassettes or not. And so the reason why I'm asking this is because outside of vinyl, as I mentioned, in talks about this vinyl deal, I got to follow up with this company. Like it wasn't even my idea. It was their idea, but it's been taking a long time just to make something official so I can start repressing some of the old vinyl and talk about a path forward for new vinyl. So, God willing, that still pans out. If it does not, don't worry, I'm still keep doing vinyl, but it takes a bit to get the funds together to do it. And definitely doing pre-orders and stuff helps. But the downside of pre-orders is it's hard to tell you exactly when the funds will all be there so I can give you a release date on these projects if I do pre-orders and stuff. So that being said, vinyl, more vinyl coming very soon. Those of you who love the Adultish album, it's still available on vinyl. We've already sold like somewhere between 60 to 7%, 60 to 70% of the vinyl that was manufactured has already been sold. And I got tour this summer and possibly another tour in the works for late summer. And yeah, so I don't expect to have copies that much longer. They'll probably be sold out before the year's over. So that being said, if you have not picked up Adultish on vinyl yet, you should probably do that. But going back to the poll in the chat of this video on YouTube, it was asking about cassettes, right? So for those who don't know, this is the only album I've ever put on cassette. All right, wait for it to zoom in. Let's see if we can get that. Any second. Whenever you want to work. It's not going to zoom in. But anyway, that is the past is always present in the future. The gold cassette for my fourth studio album. Yeah, man, was super proud to do this, man. Love how it came out. You know, but yeah, man. So I did a limited run of 100 of these. And what I've been thinking about doing, because cassettes, for those who haven't been following the music industry in terms of physical media, cassette sales are actually up over 400% in general. So I've been thinking about manufacturing more cassettes because a good amount of my albums, literally, this is the only one of my albums that's ever been on cassette. And I have had experiences like if I go on tour and I do 5 shows or whatever in a particular region, at 2 of those shows people ask me about cassettes because they'll see the USB cassettes, which are really dope in themselves. Looks like a cassette, but it's actually a USB drive, right? And these are pretty dope because they cost a little bit more than manufacturing regular cassettes, but I can plug and play this in the car, and literally this right here has my whole catalog on it. Right, so over 497 songs, and that's actually inaccurate. It has most of my catalog on it. The thing that's missing from this are like most of the features I've done outside of the features I did in Japan, because there's a whole playlist that a whole folder dedicated to Stan. It's called Stan Loves Japan, and it's all my collabs that I've done in Japan. So anyway, yeah, man. But I'm thinking about doing more cassettes. For those who didn't know, I've actually collected many cassettes over the years, still got a lot of mine. This is just a small amount of what I could fit in my hand at the moment. But I've been thinking about adding cassettes to the merchandise, and I wanted to hear from y'all. How many of y'all actually purchase cassettes? I saw one person, I think it was Ousted, that said that that they purchase cassettes. But how many of y'all actually do? Because I know that when I did this album on cassette, it actually took a while. It was over a year just to sell 100 of these. But it was also fairly inexpensive compared to other forms of merchandise. So I wasn't mad at how long it took to sell, because I didn't lose any money. But I definitely know that people don't buy these the way they buy vinyl. And CDs sell maybe a little bit more than these, you know. So thoughts, let me know in the comments what you think. Yeah, man. Stan Loves Japan does kind of rhyme. Yes, it does. It is a rhyme. So yeah, man. It was actually inspired by the whole Jay Loves Japan joint that Jay Dilla did. All right. So Joshua says, oh no, that's a question. Comment from before. Yep, got that one. Trying to catch up. Is because negative emotions are stronger than positive ones to most. It sucks, but that is our primitive programming at play. 100%, man. Yeah, I definitely get it. It's just unfortunate that most people are unconscious of that fact. Like, you know, it's like, you know, it's like what people say. I hear people say, like, you know, yeah, like, when they talk about people who don't take care of their kids, they say things like, you know, when like, yo, nobody should be, you know, showing you extra love or giving you brownie points because you take care of your kids. You're supposed to take care of your kids. I'm like, right, no doubt. But at the same time, it's like learned behavior is very important. if someone is dying for attention, for example, I worked in education over 20 years. So one of the things that students who oftentimes are considered the bad students, who act up all the time and stuff like that, a lot of times they're doing that because that's how they get attention, right? They don't get attention for doing well on their work, or for for different accolades related to education and stuff. So, and then in some cases, their poor grades, even if they are good in sports, their poor grades keep them from being able to play sports. So whatever accolades and whatever positive reinforcement and attention they could potentially get at school, they don't get because they underperform, right? So another way that they get attention is by acting out, right? And they know that people are going to engage with them quicker when they do those things. So that's what they do. So oftentimes when I have to build a rapport with those type of students in the past, what I do is, man, I constantly engage them in real conversation. I wouldn't say I talk to them like a peer, but I don't belittle them, right? Try to lift them up in conversation, introduce them to other things, have some conversations that maybe make it more clear what's going on with them. But most importantly, I don't spend all my time shitting on everything that they do. I try to highlight those positive things and encourage the adults around them to do the same. And a lot of times, a lot of my fellow educators don't always give the same energy to the great things that those type of kids are doing to turn it around that they give to the mistakes that they make. You know what I mean? And then they wonder why those kids ultimately never commit and completely go the positive route and be like what what a person like me believes they could be. Because at the end of the day, even when they start to do good things, people are right back to whatever bad thing they've done. Even when it's minuscule compared to the great things that they are beginning to do. And so, yeah, man, it's really, really disappointing, and it's hard to ever see real progress in those situations. But I feel like that same mentality is part of the reason why we see declines in other things, whether we're talking about art, music, whatever. That's part of the problem, because, even the people who claim to love these better options that exist, they spend more time talking and shitting on the things that they believe are bad as opposed to the stuff they believe is good. And the thing is, if the things we loved so much performed better, guess what you would see? More of those things, because now these artists that we claim are better alternatives to the more popular things out here, if those artists are doing more numbers because we're actively spreading their stuff, other artists look at those artists like, damn, I like what they're doing, but also they're eating. They're doing pretty well. It seems like when I go in the spots, people know who they are. So this is an artist I should be watching. This is something I should emulate. This is a goal. This is something to achieve. But if I look around and I see everybody who's getting love, and I'm trying to make a living doing the thing, and everybody who I see who's getting the most attention, not even love sometimes, they're getting attention, positive or negative, people are all talking about this, then that's the thing. If I'm trying to be successful, that's the thing to do, right? Because I'm getting free promotion because people think I'm trash, but then the club rock with me. The people who just trying to party, who don't really care about substance, they rock with me. So I'm winning either way. I'm winning either way. You know what I mean? So that's just, hey man, I believe in educated consumers. We got to know this. And I understand exactly what you're saying. But those of us who understand that that's the real issue, we have to make conscious decisions to focus our energy on the positive. And then also positive. And then also stand on business. If I don't like some shit, I don't like some shit. If I don't like something, I don't like it. Right? So I ain't got to be swayed by the public and stuff that because everybody's rocking with it, this is the thing to like. But I'm not in the business of yucking your yum. If that's what you like and that's what makes you feel, that's what fills your bucket, makes you feel great, makes you feel special, makes you feel smart, whatever it makes you feel. If that's what you're digging, that's what you're digging. But just know that, just like you don't want me crapping on the thing that you like, it's just like I don't need to hear from you about why like this thing that I love or whatever ain't it, especially when people who don't get any money. It's like when people talk about a particular artist and they're like, well, yeah, their stuff can't be better than this artist because, you know, that artist sells more units. Like talent has anything to do with that. That's called marketing. You know what I'm saying? And then also, just because something is more palatable to the masses doesn't necessarily make it good or bad. It just, you know, it just works in certain situations. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I got a lot of information on all these things. You know, I spend a lot of time teaching this stuff, man. So I ain't trying to dive any more deeper into it, but any deeper into it, but just something to think about. You know what I mean? But anyway, go to the chat because I've been rambling for a minute. Juan says, I only purchase cassettes when they're forced on vinyl on vinyl bundles. That's real. I respect it. All right. The Adultist USB cassette is worth it, everyone. Lots of music to vibe to. Yeah, man. Different stuff too. It's like you get the video game stuff, you get the lo-fi like jazz hop / jazz rap stuff, you get the soulful hip hop, you get, you know, my collaborations and stuff, man, with Marcus D, my solo work. Yeah, it's just a ton of music, man. So definitely, if you haven't picked it up, you should. I was one of those bad kids, man. I feel sorry for my elementary teachers. No doubt. I feel you. Hey, what up, Warpath? Good to see you up in here, man. Welcome. Warpath asked if he missed a lot. Kinda. Yes, that would be an accurate response. Ryan says, speak the truth. Well said. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Let the church say amen. Amen. Okay. Let's open this back up because I just realized that the slides I had going closed when I got booted off for a second. But thank y'all for still hanging with me. Yeah. See if I missed anything else. So look, while I got cassettes here, let's talk about cassettes for a minute. We're just going to go through these and see what Stan used to listen to. Some of these are really old. I'm going to tell you what it is, and then I'm going to give you the year. And your homework this week, class, is for those of you who don't know about some of these joints, man, I'm highly recommending that you check it out. All right. So first up, we got this cassette right there. And as you can see, that is, well, it's kind of blurred, but that's Pete Rock and CL Smooth. What was it? Side 1, it's a single, is They Reminisce Over You. Classic joint, arguably one of the greatest hip hop songs ever made, and in my opinion, just one of the greatest songs ever made too. But yeah, man, definitely check it out. What else? So yeah, the B-side's The Creator, and then A-side is what you call them. Then right here we got Like Water for Chocolate by Common. Getting blurred. I know you can't really see it that well, but man, trying to see if it's gonna do the thing. It's not gonna do the thing. Anyway, there we go. It was there and then it wasn't. But yeah, Common, Like Water for Chocolate. One of my favorite Common albums. This is when he started getting production from Dilla. Great album. If you never heard it, highly recommend it. See what else we got in here. Oh man. Oh yeah, man, I should get a year too. So that Pete Rock tape is from 1992. That Common joint is from what year? I don't know if the year is on this joint. Oh, 99 and 2000. Then we got this one here. This is for Forever My Lady, Jodeci. If you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? This might not be for everybody right here, but this joint, man, is classic. Came out on Uptown Records. This is from 1991. This joint right here. Let's go to the chat real quick. It says, where do you shop for cassettes and vinyl, or do you shop local? I'm from a small town, so there isn't much here. Now, I respect it. Yeah, sometimes like small shops and stuff, like small record shops will have it. They sometimes carry more than just records. They'll sometimes have vinyl and CD. But then also, yeah, man, a lot of times at this point I buy from artists directly, you know what I mean, whenever possible. So always a good thing to do when you get the opportunity. If you can't buy from them in person at shows, you can always order online, you know. But yeah, thanks for the question. Class of Substantial Sing. I hope y'all get that reference. I see what you did there. All right. Word. Says Troy indeed is one of the greatest hip hop songs ever. I'm surprised it was on it was on NBA Streets Volume 2. Word. All right. Flovy, peace. What's going on? Peru is in the building. Welcome, welcome. Gonna say, whenever I'm listening to older music, it makes me feel like I missed out on such an amazing time, from early Common to De La to Pete Rock. Yo, 100%, man. Like, it was just dope. It was dope. All right, here's another one right here. We're going to 1995. We got Buju Banton. Man, if you know dancehall, this right here is a classic record. So far we've gotten some hip hop joints, we got some dancehall, reggae, and we got some R&B as well. Where we going next? Ooh, I played the hell out of this one. This tape is beat up. This one right here, we got the Far Side, Lab Cabin, California. This is the album they got running on it. This is their second album. Got Line Drop. Not Line Drop, pardon me. I'm thinking of Extended Fam. But their song Drop and Running, which was produced by Dilla. Yo, She Said, classic. She Said, the original, I think, was produced by Diamond D, if I'm not mistaken. And then the remix was done by Dilla. Another dope joint. But this is a great Far Side album. Definitely, if you've never heard the Far Side, go check out some of their music, man. It's really dope. Really innovative music videos for this album too. I know you can't really see that, but yeah. Let's see. Do a couple more and then we're gonna switch. Boom, boom. What we got? Oh, taking it back. Man, I don't even. Oh yeah, I can see the year on it. So look, most of those cassettes were from the 90s. We're gonna go to 1980. Is it 89? Yep, 88, 89. This right here, Slept On album, man. 3 times dope, original styling. Man, I fell in love with this group. Before there was Black Thought, man, there was EST. EST went on to become like a ghostwriter and a songwriter for other people. If I'm not mistaken, he's even written for Destiny's Child. But he used to be signed to Arista Records. His group, 3 times dope, was really, really dope. They're from Philly. Yeah, man, Philly's been making dope hip hop forever. If I'm not mistaken, EST was featured either, if it wasn't a Roots album, it was on one of the affiliates albums. But yeah, man, it was a song called Funky Dividends. Definitely those of you who like that jazz hop vibe, you want to hear some of the early hip hop that was very much like foundational for that sound, or where they were sampling like R&B or like jazz type of joints and really inspiring with the direction people like me would go. Check out this group, in particular, a song called Funky Dividends. Really dope record. Let's see what we got next. Let me go to the comments real quick. I wrote for Hip Hop Zine in 1992, was asked my top 10 hip hop songs of the day and placed Troy at number 1. 30 years later, I have that same pick. Yo, one of the greatest hip hop songs ever made. Yo, They Reminisce Over You, Troy. It's one of the best hip hop songs ever made. Anybody who is here right now who has not heard that song, which I seriously doubt, because if you listen to any old school hip hop, that song is usually one of those ones that comes up and still gets played to this day. Highly recommend listening to that record. Special record, man. Talking about loss, vulnerability and stuff, like upbringing, all of these things. Story I'll share real quick. For those of you who've been on these a lot, you might have heard this story before. I don't care. It's a great story. I'm coming back from a retreat, an education retreat. Again, I've worked in education for years. Coming back from a retreat, I'm in the car with my man Smoke. That's his real last name. It ain't a cool rapper name. All my friends just got better names than me. I don't know what it is. I've hung with dudes with better names. I think I was low-key envious of them all. But my man Smoke, we're in his whip, getting gas. We stop in the convenience store real quick, pick up some things. We get in the car. And as we sit in the car, he just got a text message saying that one of his homies had passed away. Right? I say condolences. We talk real brief. He's just reminiscing and all of that. He turns the car on. He literally turns the car on and the radio comes on. The first song that plays. And keep in mind, this is in the 2000s. This song is old at this point, right? I don't know if it was the 2020s, but the song is over 20 years old because the song came out early 90s. man, first song that comes on the radio is They Reminisce Over You. I look at my boy because I was like, that's crazy. And it wasn't like it was in the middle of the song. It literally dropped on the one, and he didn't, and it was on the radio, right? So we had no control over that. And I look at my man and I say to him, I smile. I was like, yo, God's the greatest DJ of all time, son. And he was like, damn, that's heavy, bro. It's like, yo, that's wild. I was like, yeah, the timing was wild because you were just reminiscing over your man you lost. And then when they reminisce over you, my God, like, come on, bro. Come on, man. Love that song. We'll never not love that song. You know, shout out to Pete Rock for making one of the greatest hip hop beats ever, if not the greatest hip hop beat ever. And shout out to CL Smooth, one of the best voices of that era for sure, in terms of just his vocal delivery, man. It's butter. But yeah. Anyway, let's go through. Got two more. All right, then we got Cypress Hill right here. You know what I mean? It's a single. We ain't a maxi single. If y'all know what a maxi single is, look that up. But we ain't going out like that. And hits from the bong on the other side. And then lastly, shout out to Chuck D, one of my music heroes. Can't Trust It, classic joint. Bam, boom, boom, bam. It's a banger. But yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for going down memory lane with me. Definitely recommend checking out some of those songs, man, if you've never heard it. I didn't give the year on those last two. Cypress Hill joint is from 1993. This Can't Trust It joint is 91, you know. All right, let's see. Go to is it time for questions? It's time for questions. Send them joints through. That's the song with Oh Honey sample, Funky Dividends. Yes, there you go. Good call. Yes, time for the Q&A. Send your questions through. Let's put this banner up so folks know if they pop up. Let's see. Bonton had some great stuff, collab with Coffee recent years, but he really put a lot of us off with the homophobic violence. Yeah, fam. 100% agree, man. And the lyrics and stuff. Yeah. One of my associates, you know, we talk a lot about like traveling to perform in different places and to teach in different places. And because she's a member of the LGBTQ community, she says all the time, like, you know, even as a black person, as much as she'd love to go to places like in different places in the Caribbean, in different places, countries in Africa, like because of fear for her safety based on like, you know, like who she is as a person, who she's been for all of her life, like it's not accepted in certain places in the world. Right. And so and I'm sure it's just not those nations, but like but it's well known amongst like other members of the black community that if you're a part of the LGBTQ community, then like, yeah, you might not be safe traveling to certain places in the world. And so it's really unfortunate, man, that we got those type of messages in the music. And I tell artists all the time, I had to speak to artists in Nepal, 2 artists in Nepal about it when I was out, or 1 artist in Nepal when I was out there, because they were doing battle rap and he was calling the other artists a faggot and this, that, and the third and blah, blah, blah. And I just asked him, I was like, listen, you know, even though I'm not a member of that community, as an advocate of members of that community, my question for you is, do you hate members of that community? And then he was like, yeah, no, of course not. And I was like, right. So a lot of times we say things because, you know, in certain circles in the battle rap world, this, that, and the third, it's about pushing boundaries, saying wild shit. But the reality of it is other people hear those words and they don't know you personally. So the assumption is because you're using this language, they think that you hate people like them. You know what I mean? Now, my question is, if you don't hate people like them, then why use that language? You know what I mean? If you don't hate this group of people, why use that language? And that's something that had to be said to me, because there are early songs that I did and they were battle rap, rap battles that I competed in, where it's like that was common to say things like that. I mean, listen, man, I've got up there and dudes who are like my brother, I've got up there, talked about their moms, sisters, went down the line of family members. You know what I'm saying? And everybody knows that I really know this person. But they also knew that like in a battle, it was like all bets were off. But we got to acknowledge the fact that, yo, this music outlives us. And a lot of times we're not there to explain what we really meant. when people hear our stuff. So yeah, man, you gotta be, it pays to be conscious of that and be sensitive to the challenges that other communities face and what we do to contribute to those things. So yeah, man, it's real unfortunate for sure. But you know, definitely, man, any artist in the building is definitely something, you know, we need to think about when we're making this stuff. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's keep it pushing. Appreciate you, Tommy, for bringing that up too. If you hadn't heard Troy punch yourself in the face, yeah, shout out to Justin Hunt, the company man. I love it when he says that. Hey, highly recommend y'all following his YouTube channel if you haven't. Some of the best journalism around hip hop there is, specifically hip hop music, rap music. But yeah, definitely check out his channel. His coverage right now of everything going on with Diddy is both impressive, like how thorough he's being, but then also, you know, equally sad and hilarious. You know what I mean? So highly recommend checking it out. It's quite a story. Yeah, divine timing indeed. Happy Mochi, peace. What's going on, Aria? Dang, not the cassette tapes. You already know. I just felt my knees clack. The first one I remember was my uncle's copy of Tootsie Roll. That was the last thing I was expecting you to say. All right, but yo, thanks for sharing. I couldn't survive a rap battle. I mentioned my mama or sisters and I'm swinging. Hey, yo, listen, check it. Man, I feel like anyone that grew up in a certain setting, like you had to have thick skin, man. Like I got homies where we call it joning. Other people call it the dozens or snaps. Like, yo, that was just life. You know what I mean? My sister is in town right now. She's in the other room. Man, I can remember almost every other disrespectful nickname she had for me and would say this joy in public in front of other people. Of course, you got the loving names and stuff that your family members give you. But then you get like, man, my sister used to call me picklehead and all this other wild. It's just like, yo, just wild, disrespectful stuff. And like, I feel like, depending on where you came up, the community you came up in or the people you came up around, it was quite common to just be a victim of jokes all day. And, you know, and like, you know, folks might kind of interpret that as bullying and stuff like that. And as I've gotten older, there's certain things where it's just like, yo, when I'm just like you are clear on what, all right, say anything about this, you crossing the line. I think I've gotten better as I've gotten older to be like, yeah, I know how we come up, but yeah, I don't like this. Like, don't say this. You know what I mean? That's too far for me. But yeah, it's absolutely, yeah, yo, like battles are brutal. I moved out of battling after a while, not even so much because of that, more so because the thing that I've noticed, and I'm sure some of y'all have seen, I've noticed a pattern of some of the best battle rappers not necessarily being, and I'm not talking about people who got in rap battles with other prominent artists who were already making albums. I'm talking about people whose main focus has been competing in battle rap. The main thing that most of them in the scene share, that was a fear for me, was that not all of them are good at making albums that were revered as classics or just songs in general that were like, yo, I'm keeping this in rotation. I know that there are some instances of people who that wasn't a problem for. Shout and rest in peace to my brother Pumpkinhead PH, Orange Moon Over Brooklyn. If you never heard it, prime example of a battle rapper who made a classic record and has a couple of notable, or more than a couple of notable joints throughout his career. But yeah, that was not the case for a lot of these brothers and sisters. Not the case for a lot of them. And anybody who disagrees, I definitely got pushback for you for today, because history says otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, but you know, it's an interesting scene. But that was ultimately why I pulled back. I wanted to focus my energy on being a great songwriter, you know. Interesting mindset. I think on battle rap, there's no limit. People are mad racist as fuck to Mexicans and Asians, and no one hates, or I think he meant bats and I. Just my opinion. Nah, I feel you. I definitely, people also diss their relatives and homies. Battle rap scary as fuck. Oh yeah, man. Like, you walk into that battle rap arena and you're anything other than black, you know, because I mean, obviously, like rap and hip hop in general started in communities predominantly, predominantly black and Latino communities and stuff. And so anybody that's kind of outside of who we perceive to be rappers and most people's perception of a rapper is typically a black male, right? Like not even black female in some cases, right? And even though Latinos were part of the foundation of hip hop, specifically like those Latino communities that are more have larger populations in new places like New York and the Bronx, more times than not, you're gonna run into Puerto Ricans, Dominicans and stuff. Like a lot of these folks who are outside of these communities, when they come into this battle circuit, like, yo, nothing's off the table in the battle scene. So yeah, absolutely, your race is gonna come up. Ask Eminem. You look up old footage of Eminem battles and stuff. That was like the immediate thing they played on. Same thing with Jen. Shout out to the homie Jen. Same thing he experienced, yo. So like what you're talking about is 100% accurate. You know what I mean? But God forbid one of y'all make a black joke in that setting. I'm gonna pray for you. You know what I'm saying? Like those same rappers who have no problem dishing that out to you or whatever, like, you know, somehow they're not racist, but when they play the reverse, especially in a situation where technically, because race is based on power dynamic, right? And let's be real, that in that particular setting, who has the power? Like it's based on who controls the battle, who organized the battle, who are the promoters, who are the people who paying back all of the folks there, right? So if the vast majority of those people in that setting are of a certain group, but then allow people to disrespect other groups who are not a part of that group, other marginalized groups, because it might be controlled by a marginalized group, that technically by definition is racism. It may not be, you know, a larger system like government and this, that, and the third, but that's a small scale version of it. That's part of how it works. Power dynamic, you know what I mean? So, yeah, you know, at the least it's prejudice, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, definitely walk into those battles. Like, yo, you got to be built different, 100%. You know, shout out to the people who thrive in it, you know. But yeah, man, appreciate you bringing that up. How do you think battle between current you and old battle rapping you would go? With old you have an edge, you were doing it so frequently, or would your overall better skills now take it? Yeah, I think I think it would be pretty evenly matched. I think younger me didn't care what flew out of my mouth to take someone out. You know, and not until people started calling me on it. And it was just because the battle scene was what it was. So in the battle scene, I wasn't having those conversations. But because I had friends who didn't really follow the scene when they would hear the music that I was making, which was just extensions of the battle rap that I was writing for these battles, that's when people started challenging me on that. So I think younger me would be more vicious, right, in terms of saying whatever I needed to say to take out older me, like me now. I do think that the advantage I have now is just like my delivery. I have way more control and I'm way more conscious of what needs to be done in that setting. So I feel like as a writer now, as a battle rapper now, it depends on whatever variables. If we're writing and the way battles are done now, where I don't know who, let's go back. I think older me now will have a disadvantage competing based on how battling was back then, because I don't freestyle as much. I can still freestyle, but I don't do it as much as I used to. So my delivery, my skills when it comes to freestyling aren't as sharp. So if I went into a battle setting where it wasn't written, it was strictly freestyle, I didn't know what beat they were going to play, I didn't know who I was battling until they were in front of me, then I'm going to give it the younger me, because younger me lived and thrived in that. You know what I mean? I literally used to show up to parties that I wasn't invited to because I heard an MC in that particular joint want to smoke with me. And I was like, hey, man, I'm with all the shits. What's up? You know what I'm saying? I got time. I don't know nobody here. I'm talking about like in rival neighborhoods, places where if you don't show up and know somebody, where you might get fucked up. And the only thing that kept me safe in those settings were the fact that I was nice. You know what I mean? It'd be like me and two of my other homies with like whoever I'm rapping against got like 30 people with them. You know what I'm saying? So, but I ain't care. I ain't care, fam. Let these skills speak. So I'm giving younger me the advantage. I think the way battling's done now, where I know who it is I'm battling in advance, which means I get the right for them. And on top of that, it's acapella too. Hey, yo, listen, new me, the current me is destroying younger me. Because, yo, if I got time to research anything, fun fact, how I write my music, whether I'm writing for a video game, whether I'm writing for my albums and talking about specific subject, like I do research before I write, you know what I mean? Like, you know, read articles, watch inspiration, watch videos talking about the subject, get other people's opinions, sometimes call up people who I know who've worked in these settings or experienced these things directly, interview them for a few minutes, sometimes record those interviews and circle back to them while I'm writing. Like, I do a ridiculous amount of research when I'm writing about certain subject matter. So if you tell me months in advance that I'm battling this dude over here, especially, you know, like younger me, if I got access to social media the way we do now, I know I'm posting a whole bunch of stuff, probably things that I'm gonna regret 10 years from now. You know what I'm saying? 10, 20 years later. So, oh yeah, you give me those type of tools and stuff with the research I enjoy doing, and just like how sharp of a writer, like for example, this video game I just had to write something for. I've only played that game prior to this thing like one time, but I'm a fan of the franchise, but the specific version of the game they wanted me to write for, I'd only played it once. So I went, bought the game, started diving back into it the way I would back when I was younger. As I'm playing the game, I'm stopping, writing notes, right? Then I watch like watch some live gameplay, watch people breaking down the lore of the game, watching people breaking down different characters, different moves and stuff like that. Then I got a sheet that's breaking down what all the moves are called, with some key moments in the history of the game. Like, fam, I did probably like 20 hours worth of research, bare minimum, on that game before I wrote like more than four to six bars, right? Like just a deep dive on it. So like I was consumed by it, and then I could just whatever you needed to know, I got you. You know what I mean? And quite frankly, I know, like, in terms of how I care about writing, you know, no slight at anybody, but, you know, needless to say, I believe in myself, and I know I'm a better writer than a good amount of people who consider themselves rappers. Like, it's not even a debate. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, yeah, older me, current me, is mopping the floor, young. Yeah. Come here, have a seat, young. Let me teach you some things. So yeah, man, that's a great question. Of course, Warpath with the bars, you always got the great questions. Alistair, get yourself some lunch. Enjoy. Peace, fam. Yeah, man. R.I.P. my brother Pumpkinhead. All right. Always wondered if you were to suddenly blow up, how do you feel that fame would change you? Would you actually want to be famous, like on the level of like Eminem? I wouldn't say, like, I don't know. I ain't gonna say I don't know. I don't really desire that level of fame. I don't want to know what it's like to be able not to be able to walk out in public and do what I need to do without possibly having security with me, or just people in general just to help my day, help me get through my day without having to stop every few minutes to, you know, to show people love for supporting me, knowing that I'm gonna potentially be late for a thing, or I might potentially upset somebody, all because I'm really just trying to get out of there in time to pick my daughter up from somewhere, or one of my daughters up for something, or both of them. So I don't know if I'm maybe younger me wanted to be that big, maybe. But I think once I started working in the music biz, I never really, or once I saw the music biz change, where I noticed the biggest artists all had there were certain topics that they always seemed to have included in their records, and I knew those weren't topics that I was willing to put in my records. So once that became a realization, and then I saw, like, you know, it's always important to remember that fan is short for fanatic, and I saw how crazy people could be, because I've had like a few different scares where one, I was out with my wife and there was a fan who was in the elevator with us when we were on our way to the movie. They worked at the theater. This is in New York, where they had somebody who controlled the elevators. And yo, dude freaked out when he realized who I was, and like literally not just scared us, he scared other people in the elevator. Now he ended up being really cool, but that initial scare, that's the type of thing that if I was in a different setting, it was off the late night, they might have caught hands, fam. Like all the hands. You know what I'm saying? But you know, so yeah, I don't know if I want a level of fame that would potentially become a safety concern. You know, but I think when I look at other artists who are, it's tough to find examples of it, but there are other artists like, let's say, like somebody like a Lupe or someone else like where it's like, yo, they got a few hits and stuff, but for the most part, they can be out in public and maybe don't get recognized all the time. They got their camp of folks, but they're still able to, and again, I don't know Lupe personally, so I don't know how true or whatever this is, but I definitely wouldn't mind having a few songs of mine blowing up to the point where those songs are more popular than I am, right? Because largely I'd be able to enjoy those spoils for potentially the rest of my life. These things are going to potentially take care of not just me, but other people I love for the rest of my days and potentially theirs. So having some things under my belt, however they come, I ain't even got to be at the forefront of the song. If I'm the person that writes or produces it and that works out, great. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's for a bigger IP or something like that and people never get to see my face. I'm good with that. I don't really care as much about the fame as much as I do the, you know, what, making sure the deal is set up right, where like my family and I can benefit that way. And most importantly, it doesn't deviate from where I stand as a man and who I am as a person. So I can be proud of that thing. You know what I mean? So I'm more concerned with that. You know what I mean? Unpopular opinion, nephew says rap battles are downright awful if they can be boiled down to an insult competition. I definitely could see why people would feel that way. I do think though that like when the best rap battles, it's what I love. It's what I love about hip. It's a big part of why I fell in love with rap, right? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with being confident in who you are and believing that you're good enough to put what you do against anybody else. I think that if we viewed battle rap the way we view sports, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'd basically say anybody who feels like that about battle rap, but then watches MMA or watches boxing or like any type of martial arts and stuff like that, it's just like it's the same. It's the same. You literally are being paid to pummel somebody. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes people die. Like not all the time, but sometimes people die in these sports, fam. And people pay to see this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not judging them because I'm one of them. Like, you know what I mean? I don't watch MMA all the time, but I do. Actually, somebody who went to my high school years ago who I know or whatever, she's a professional MMA fighter. So like, yo, I support it. You know what I mean? I support boxing too. I watch boxing. Huge boxing fan. So I'm good. I'm good with it. You know what I mean? And the other thing is, I think that some of the best introspective rappers, let's be real, some of your favorite introspective rappers came up as battle rappers. And that's part of the reason why they're so skilled at writing on different subject matter. So I feel like there's a place for it. I do think that there are times where it's like, yo, it may be not that appealing, but like as long as at the end of the day, people can stand in that arena or in that whatever, trade these things and then be able to shake hands afterwards, knowing that they're really just putting forth the best effort in an art form that allows them to excel and add on to the craft. Then yo, I'm with it. One of the greatest battle raps, if you've never seen it, look up Calico versus what's my man name who destroyed him? Oh my gosh, help me out in the chat. He's the name I really should have remembered. The dude who won it, but oh my God, I know his name. I'm just blacking out right now. But the battle with Calico and homeboy, where he was like, "You gonna get this work?" Yo, they literally show up to his team shows up to the battle, not Calico, but the other brother, and somebody in the chat knows. What's it called? His team shows up to the battle dressed in all black. They literally printed up programs with the other rapper's face on it, right? Like, hey, yo, he was wearing a suit with Jordans. And he was just like, yo, it was like, like we're showing up for the funeral, you know what I'm saying, of this rapper I got to battle because I'm about to destroy this dude. Hey, man, it's theater, you know? It's theater. And I think it's important to view it that way. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't certain artists that are saying things that they mean, but I think a good amount of what we're seeing at this point is theater. Black Thought, I think, made that point too. And so, yeah, man. And when I think that battle in particular was a great example of that, like Homeboy really thought this all the way around. And what was interesting about the insults and the things he was saying, and I'm really forgetting this rapper's name. It wasn't Loaded Lux. Thank you, Early. Loaded Lux. Yeah, so it was Calico versus Loaded Lux. And Loaded Lux's verse at the end, because he messed up, I think, his second verse or something like that. But his final verse, he basically broke down what was wrong about the image that this dude was trying to push out here. Like, yo, and how he would celebrate his father and he was saying stuff like, yo, your pops wasn't no thug. He was just another lost nigga. Like, bruh, it's one of the craziest battles, and he started breaking it down. Like, yo, what the type of messages dude was pushing in his songs or in his battles, like the problem that it was with the society at large who subscribes to this, right? Like, I had never seen that done in a battle like that. I'm not saying it's never happened before, but I personally had never seen it done in a battle prior to that. And I was just like, man, this was one of the illest ways I've seen somebody get taken out, because it was just less about, you know, what was it, a line? He was like, yo, saying something about, is it worth making your life short? Is it worth making your money longer to make your life shorter? You know what I mean? Like, just really questioning what he stood for as a man, bruh. And it was just crazy. It was so crazy. If you've never seen that, to me, man, that, like, it, you know, that deserves to be in a museum. That moment in rap battles, it's arguably one of the greatest moments in a rap battle I've ever seen in this new age of how battles are done. So yeah, definitely check that out. I like these compliment battles that I see pop up every now and then, and I've actually seen one in person where it was strictly like compliments thrown at each other, like dudes freestyling compliments or pre-written joints. Fire. I think that's interesting, because that's in this day and age where if you showing love to anybody, people call it glazing or saying you on their dick or whatever. Like, you know, it's dope seeing people celebrate each other. You know what I mean? And I do think, you know, I'm good with balance. You know what I mean? And, you know, and with the other style of battling, as long as folks have the ability to keep it like in the, you know, with the pen, keep it with the writing, keep it with the freestyling and stuff, and it doesn't escalate the violence and stuff, I'm with it. I'm good. There's space for both. You know what I mean? You can't, you know, we don't have, if no negativity exists, then what's positivity, right? Like, you know, I think, yeah, it's not saying that we need more negative things. I think we get, it's oversaturated with that. I just think that we need to do a better job of highlighting the positive too. But yeah, man, I know it's super long-winded, but keep it pushing. If Putin is watching, get out of Ukraine. 100%. They wouldn't let us be great a little while ago, but yeah, man, I definitely stamp what you were saying, brother. Yeah, I completely understood that when I heard it around me, but it just makes me do a double take every now and then. Oh, you're referring to what he said. I'm Puerto Rican and grew up saying it in Chicago. Oh, you're talking about the N-words. Let me back up. Oh man, I missed a lot of questions. My bad. Hold up. Let's see. Always wondering, blah, blah, blah. Got it. All right. Joshua says, kind of layer question. What was the best time of your life being a hip hop fan, and why was it that? Was it a certain album that dropped, or a movement, a new wave of hip hop being introduced? Best moment of my life being a hip hop fan. Man, it's gonna sound silly, but like, man, I would say early 90s, just, it felt like early 90s and the mid 90s, it just felt like rap for the most part could do no wrong. You know what I mean? Like where, and I saw older heads around me who liked it too. I feel like, you know, like I would see dudes in their 20s, early 30s that liked some of the same stuff we was listening to as youngins, right? I would say mostly in their 20s. It was not like I was hanging around a bunch of 30-year-olds in my teens. But like I had a few teachers who liked some of the same stuff we liked, you know, and they were late 20s, mid to late 20s, and sometimes early 30s. You know, I would go to a Wu-Tang concert or something like that and see some of those people. Like, you know, I felt like, yo, we were all in agreement. You know what I mean? Of course, not everybody, but yeah, man. That period of time kind of felt different. And it might just be because there was no social media, so I wasn't able to see the opinions of everybody per se. I do know that as the mid 90s kind of came in and stuff, there started to be more of a divide between what was mainstream hit and what was like wasn't as big, but just like people really wasn't rocking with it like that. But a big moment for me was the first time I ever called into a radio station and requested that they play a song, and I requested them play "Passing Me By" the Far Side. And having that, just, you know, being in that era where it's like that type of music was mainstream, yo. Like the type of stuff that now is considered underground, it was the mainstream. You know what I mean? Being able to turn on my TV and see NWA, but also see, you know, Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Being able to turn on my TV and see MC8, and then a couple videos later, them play The Far Side, who were completely different artists, but from the same city. You know what I mean? Like, they're from smaller cities in the larger city, right? Or smaller towns in the larger city. LA, like that's how diverse it felt on a mainstream level. You know what I mean? You know, hearing about tours that I did, even the tour I went to, being able to see in Kentucky, I was staying with my sister and we saw SWV, a R&B group, with with Naughty by Nature, right, who was a mainstream hip hop group, but then also having Rex and Effect, who had a big mainstream single, Rump Shaker. But then it was also Apache, who had his single Gangsta Bitch, which wasn't like a chart topping song, but like people knew it. But then also Lords of the Underground, right? Like, you know, some of these dudes are like, they're on major labels, but they're smaller acts, you know what I mean? And so, and then who else was, and it was crazy. And then Run DMC was on the tour, and Run DMC was the opener. Run DMC opened the show, and then, who was it? And then Naughty by Nature closed it. So, yo, just the variety of hip hop. Now, these are all East Coast acts and stuff at the time. But yo, it was just like these were not the same type of groups for the most part. And it was dope too to see Jersey getting a lot of love, because you know, both Lords of the Underground, who's really dope, man. If you never heard their stuff, definitely check them out. Lords of the Underground and Naughty by Nature, who was from Jersey. It was just crazy, man. So that's an era I think of for sure. Blah, 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 blah. So this is the one I missed before. Speaking of Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, I'm New Yorker. What's your opinion on them dropping the N-word so casually? I can't understand that it's probably how they grew up, but it's wild seeing it in person. Yeah, as somebody who didn't grow up in New York, I didn't move to New York until I was like 19 or I think I was like 18 or 19 when I moved up there for college and stuff, and decided to stay for like 10 years. So it was a little weird when I first got there, but like but you know, I paid attention to how like the blacks around me who lived in this region longer than I did, and how it wasn't an issue for them. So I think it's one of those things that like, you know, when we talk about what culture is, right, and what's acceptable, and how culture isn't the same everywhere. So what we define as hip hop culture looks different from place to place, and certain things that, you know, like if I look at the Hispanic community in the DMV versus the Hispanic community and the black community in the DMV versus like the Hispanic community or the Latinx community, whatever folks are most comfortable with. I know different people who feel differently about all of the different terms, so I'm just covering my bases. But I know that the relationship between the Latinx community in New York versus what it is, and when we say New York, let's be specific, New York City is very different than where it is where I've grown up. And that's something I had to learn, and something I gotta remind people of all the time. We call it the United States, but let's be clear, even though the United States might be a country, technically, it's really a bunch of countries combined, right? Like when you look at the size of the US compared to other places in the world, when we look at Europe, for example, and how a lot of those countries, which literally have a completely different culture from the country that's right next door to it, like Germany and France are not the same country, and right, and they're very different culturally. And so there are things that it might be cool for them to do in Germany that if they go over into France and start doing or saying those things, it could be problematic. And look how close they are in proximity. And I think that can be true in other places. And so New York and New York City and then the DMV, the DC metro area are very different. So it was weird for me when I first got up there, but I got a couple of friends who were Puerto Rican or Latinx who are from New York, and, you know, very much hip hop heads and grew up around folks that they get the pass, while like our white counterparts who came up in that region and in that scene too, they don't. And so, yeah, man, I just think at the end of the day that like, you know, this is the problem. This is both the gift and the curse of language. But I do think it's important to acknowledge that culture looks different in different places. So what might fly over here, just know that, like, yo, if you're going to stand on that and that's what you good with there, just know that when you go to other places in the world, they ain't going to be cool with that. And if you're going to be spending a lot of time with time there, like, are you going to conform or are you going to stick with what you feel? You know what I mean? And so it's a slippery slope, man. I don't know what the right answer is to that. I do know that it's a word I'm not comfortable with in certain settings, but I do now know that when it's, but I do recognize context matters. I know that when that same word, a different pronunciation of that word comes from people who come from a community like mine and were in that struggle and been through situations like me, it don't feel the same. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of the tricky things about language, like how one word can mean so many different things depending on the setting. Like the N word's not the only word that's like that. Then something I push back on too, like when I have conversation with other black folk, is when we talk about that word and the problem we have it in certain with certain groups saying it, this, that, and the third. And then when I talk to some people some black people who have a problem with the N word, but are perfectly fine with being called black. And so this is something I say to them, and I'll say it to y'all now. And I will say this too: if you're not black, if you're not black, you're not African American or whatever, I do not advise you to go have this conversation with someone else. Let's just be real. Just because it's probably not going to go the way you would hope to go, especially if you don't have a relationship with that person like that. Safety first. But, you know, for my black folks in particular who are watching, this is the conversation I've had about the N word and the use of black. I don't know all of the history around both of these words, but I'm fairly sure, based on the history I have read, that we didn't decide to use the word black like when it was first being used to describe us, right? Whether we're talking about in Africa or the Americas initially, because, you know, our ancestors were brought over from Africa. And so folks were identified when we were amongst ourselves, we identified each other based on our tribes, right? Where we were from, what tribe we were a part of, et cetera, not you're black, right? And so that's basically through someone else's lens. You see what I'm saying? That's through the colonizer's lens. We were labeled black by someone else, just like we were labeled nigga by someone else. And then we took those words, we redefined them, we use them as ways to empower each other and engage with one another in a certain way. But at the end of the day, like, is black not, like, when we know that this word was taken, like this was the word used by the colonizer to describe our ancestors, but we took it and flipped it. Is black not as potentially as problematic as the N word when we understand that history? Just something to ponder. You know what I mean? Now, I don't mind being called black, and I've got whole songs about, you know, black of all trades and black artists, something, black business, black, you know what I mean? Like, clearly I don't have a problem with it. I do recognize that the N word in a lot of settings is more problematic, but that's based on, again, that based on people's cultures and how they respond to it. And I know that people don't view the word black the way they view the N word. So I know it's a safer word to use for the most part. But I also recognize the history of both. You know what I mean? And so just something to ponder, man. And just this whole idea of who's black, who's white, who's this, who's that, who's brown, who's yellow, who's whatever, you know what I mean? Potentially what term is offensive for what group and what isn't. I would just say read up on it. Something really interesting to read up on too. Read an article that is published by the Smithsonian, right? And for those who care about sources, look up something from the Smithsonian that there's an article that is in one of the Smithsonian magazines that talks about the creation of whiteness, right? Because it's important to remember that, you know, who's black was determined, like who's determined as black or colored or whatever, this, that, and the third, was determined by colonizers, people in power in certain settings outside of the places where these people originated from. But it's also important to also acknowledge that, if I'm not mistaken, if memory serves me, the idea of whiteness is also something that was created by people who were outside of Europe. And I believe it was something that was established in the Americas, right? And is very much embedded in American history. So read up on these things. And again, I might be misquoting certain parts of it. It might not completely be accurate. I'll fully admit to that, because I read this article a very long time ago. But these constructs that we created, you know what I mean? It's important to remember that they were created. They aren't actually who we are, if we're being completely honest. But we've learned to adapt these things because people need to fit into certain boxes for other people to feel comfortable a lot of times. But I'm well aware, you know what I mean, that of these different things. But I'm not going to be in a situation where I'm never going to say like or celebrate my blackness or my culture and stuff like that, even though I know we have more in common with other people than we care to admit. I'm never not going to celebrate and acknowledge my blackness, because that is something that connects me to people who have a specific struggle or specific love for certain things and stuff like that. It's just like, you know, I know we're all the same, but you and I, we may be distant relatives, but you are not my immediate family. So I should not be expected to love you the same as I love my wife or my mom or my this, that, and the third, because of what our immediate connection is, because of what our experiences are. And so that does not mean that I do not love a certain group of people because I love those closest to me, if you know what I'm saying. So anytime you hear someone speak up and show a lot of love to people who are from there, specifically when they're doing it because they understand that coming from that, you don't always get a lot of love, and they're doing it in a way that just lifts that person up celebrates that person without putting another group down. So it's important. Context matters. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, we way off right now, and I'm probably gonna end it soon because I just realized we've been on for almost 2 hours. But yo, man, I appreciate you. Hey, yo, y'all are the real champs of this live, because man, y'all have brought up a lot of deep things, and these are things we always get to talk about. But I appreciate it. Tommy, you're probably gone by now, but have a great one. Completely understood that. When I heard it around me, but it just makes me do a double take now and then. Nah, I definitely get it. Warpath was saying, but I stopped once I grew up. Yeah, he grew up saying it. Got it. Nobody thought anything of it. Just how we grew up. Puerto Ricans and blacks considered the same group. Word. Yeah, definitely depending on where you came up with, like, folks are closely related, you know. Let's get to... yeah, y'all were talking about Loaded Lux. Skip over that. Are you still touring? Would be great to see you in the UK. So hopefully you're still here. Nothing confirmed for the UK. Definitely would love to go back. You know, I'm gonna just say at this point, like, anything's possible. It's nothing on the books or in talks for this year. But you know, again, anything's possible. So I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I think I got your comment now. Oh, Passing Me By. I remember when my mom used to play that song all the time when I was little. Yeah, man, your mom definitely knows. Shout out to Shu. She know that quality hip hop. Just another quick reminder too, if you would like to donate to the channel, you could do so via the super chat, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, all that good stuff. It is greatly appreciated. Never mandatory, but always appreciated. Thank ya. Get back to these comments, and then we're gonna get ready to get out of here. Let's see. Hold on. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, Crow said it was all love and fun until the East and West started, and then people started to broadcast beef more on TV and radio, and it got ugly real quick. Yeah, I think it's important to understand that a lot of what we see with the beef that happens in this particular genre, how much of a role media plays in that. I'm not discrediting. I'm not saying that the artists have nothing to do with it, but I'm saying that media and people's takes trying to really make stuff like deeper than it really is in some cases, trying to turn it into more stuff than it is, like people who aren't really involved with either one of these camps, escalating it right until something more. And definitely, man, the media and turned it into an East versus West thing when it was really just kind of Pac and Big, and then it turned into much more, and then rappers just kind of fed into it, you know what I mean, because of where they were getting their information from. I had a front seat to all of this stuff. I wasn't in the industry, but as a rap fan, I was following it closely, and I know that it started with 2 artists in particular, and then it just expanded into like a whole coast having a problem with another whole coast. And as someone who actively was listening to the music prior to a magazine saying that's what the problem was, I didn't see it that way. And most rap fans that I knew personally didn't either. But then after those type of articles started to come out, where they instead of just being like Pac, Big, they were like East, West. And it was crazy because, you know, Pac's from the East Coast originally, you know what I'm saying? And but moved out West. And so, like, yeah, man, it was just really weird watching that happen. And then getting to a place where New York definitely got a bit defensive, and to the point where it's like any region that wasn't New York, like when the South started coming up, like basically not showing love initially to certain acts and stuff. And it wasn't all of New York, but just like you would see it at the Source Awards and things like that, where it was just like, yo, after that stuff went down, or as that stuff was going down, it just kind of changed a lot of the stuff until the internet really kind of made it so that no matter where you were from, you had a voice, you know what I mean, in it. So it was interesting to witness, man. Hold on, we are frozen. Okay, all right, sorry about that. Was frozen for a second, at least on my end. Trying to get caught up. CM says, as a native, I used the N-word frequently growing up. It was different. It was no different than a dude. It was no different than saying dude or bro. It was never used in a derogatory way. It wasn't until I moved out of NYC that I slowed down and stopped. Word. I definitely get it completely. I like this conversation between Maya Angelou and Dave Chappelle on that particular word. I got to look it up. I feel like I've seen clips of it, but never saw the whole thing. Thanks for putting that on my radar early. As a person from the DMV, do you consider yourself a northerner or a southerner? This rapper I knew she was from Texas, and she used to call us up south. That's what she used to call us. She would call us up south. A lot of times you would talk to certain people and they consider anything below the Mason-Dixon line to be southern. I'll say this, I'm a mid-Atlantic Atlantic person. You know what I mean? Like, I'm heavily influenced by NY in some respects and stuff. And then there are other parts of me that are heavily influenced by like my more southern folks, because a good amount of my family on my mother's side are from North Carolina, where on my father's side, they're from Baltimore. But I like to think of myself as more of a mid-Atlantic person, kind of that middle child in between the North and the South. You know what I mean? I'm close enough to both where I can appreciate them both. You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at that balance. And I hate this whole idea that we got to kind of choose sides a lot of times in most things. You know what I mean? Because I think that depending on how you feel on a particular day, you might identify with one side of yourself more than the other. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm a native. Although I'm a DMV native, like as a DMV native, I view myself more as just a dude from the Mid-Atlantic more so than a dude from the North or South. All right. I don't touch the N-word with a 10-foot pole. It's the prime verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb, in my opinion. I appreciate that, nephew. All right. Yeah, these days, now that I know better, I feel a lot worse. I feel at worst it's ignorant for me to say it, and at best there's just no need for me to use it. I definitely respect that. I stopped using it in my music, same, and in my everyday for over a decade. But if I get around my people from NYC, I catch myself saying it, and then I'm conscious about it. Yeah, I definitely still struggle with it to this day. Like, there's plenty of settings where I don't use it more times than not. But like you, if I get around my homies that have known me for like 20 plus years, 30 plus years, and kind of get real comfortable, and my kids hanging in the room and stuff like that. And look, it's crazy because my studio's right next to my kids' bedroom. So my oldest daughter was just like, "Oh my God, you were cursing so much last night." I'm like, "Oh my God," super embarrassed. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's N-word very much is like cursing with me. You know what I mean? Like, where it's like there's certain settings where I use it, and there's certain settings where I don't. I don't put it in my music because I know my music is consumed by a large amount of people who aren't from the same walk of life as me. And it's crazy because I've literally had black people who listen to my music, who grew up listening to my music from the New Best days or different settings, that because I didn't say the N-word in a lot of these songs or whatever, didn't know I was black. And so that's crazy to me that some people don't identify you with being a part of a certain community because you don't use certain words, in particular a word that may be offensive in the wrong setting when referring to that community. Yo, it's like, it's interesting, man. It's put like the power of language, man. 2 hours, man. Did we get when did we get so short? Yo, it's crazy. It's because of the whole questions. Y'all asking deeper questions than usual. I'm gonna get ready to run though. I'll save my question for another next time, or it'll be 3 hours. I appreciate you. Thank you for the self-control there, sir. Thank you for answering. I'm still here. Humble Heroics, thank you for hanging in there, man. Let's see. Word. What I'm saying, we need 3-hour shows back. Hey, listen, anything's possible. Something I am thinking about doing though for my Patreon folk. I'll say this before I go, because I've been thinking about different ways to approach Patreon. I've been thinking about bringing Substantial Sundays back, basically going live twice a week, but making Substantial Sundays something that is exclusive for people who support Patreon. So it's not for everybody. It'll just be an unlisted link that goes to different folks who are supporting, no matter what level, but just people. It'll allow me to be in a position where I'm creating consistent content for Patreon. So that's something that I'm thinking about, and like I can make it run a bit longer depending on how many people are interested in that. So yeah, something I'm thinking about. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. If you watch this later, I doubt that most people who watch this later are going to make it this far in the video, but if you do, definitely let me know what you think. And for those of you who are still here, let me know. Was it last one? Respiration or 3 Feet? Are you saying the song, the album, 3 Feet High and Rising? And the song Respiration? Help me with the question. I think that's what you're referring to. But Respiration, I know, is not an album, but a song, while 3 Feet High and Rising is an album. So help me out. Thanks for the thoughtful answers. It's perhaps one of the most intelligent conversations on that topic I've had. Word, man. Hey, man, I appreciate that, yo. I do my best to just try to be real mindful and thoughtful when talking about these things. I see a lot of people don't really take the time to really think on how these answers to these questions impact. So I'm not worried so much about people's perceptions of me. I'm more worried about people getting the accurate depiction of who I am. And I see sometimes when people watch videos of me, and it's mostly people who aren't familiar with me as an artist or a man, where they make certain assumptions like I'm faking because of the setting or something like that. And it's like, I'm just aware that a lot of people will say things like based on peer pressure, you know what I mean? And how they're going to be perceived and this, that, and the third. And I'm more concerned with being honest with myself. And sometimes me being honest with myself is going to basically sound foreign to someone else, because I'm being truthful about how I really think about these things how I feel about these things when no one's watching or listening. And the type of conversations I have with my wife about these type of things, where I know it's a safe space, and she's somebody who genuinely cares about me and knows that I'm not saying something just to offend. I'm really thinking critical about these things. And so when people do ask me these type of questions in these settings, the one thing I tell people all the time, if you don't see me talking about these things, it's not because I don't care about these subjects. It's just because when I am in front of an audience, folks don't think to have conversations with me about this stuff. And it's not because I'm trying to avoid being offensive or anything like that. It's just that I do recognize that people aren't always equipped to have intelligent and thoughtful conversations about things that are potentially triggering to them. And so that being said, I don't go out of my way to bring it up. However, I definitely don't run from the conversation when it comes up, because I've had these conversations enough in private amongst people I respect and amongst people who respect me. And then sometimes in public settings when people have brought them up, to know that I can hold my own. And I know that it's not coming from an ignorant place, but a person who genuinely cares about, not just myself, but others, you know what I mean? And our growth. You feel what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I appreciate y'all for hanging with me this long, because I know it ain't what you came here for. Oh, you mean resurrection? Man, oh man. The answer is easy for me. De La Soul is one of my favorite groups. Common is one of my favorite rappers. If I got to choose between those two albums, which album is more impactful to me as a man and artist, it's Resurrection. It doesn't mean I believe one album is better than the other. But I've been prone to listen to Resurrection more than I've listened to 3 Feet High and Rising. So yeah, so Resurrection for me. Ain't trying to start no problems. That's just the real answer. You know what I mean? Got to get back on there. It's just kept giving me a lot of issues with setting a payment info last time. All good, bro. When you're ready, hopefully I'm still here to be on the receiving end of said blessings. So thank you. What was it? Glad I caught the live. Always dope chats. Peace, fam. Juan, take care. Resurrection, top 3 common records. 100%. Resurrection, like water for chocolate. Of course, B is crazy. Underrated album, and I don't care. I know a lot of people don't like this Common album, but it's one of my favorites. Electric Circus is a far better album than people in hip hop care to admit. I know Common don't even feel as strongly about that album as I do. Don't really care. I think it's a progressive album that was blending genres in a way that ultimately became the norm in hip hop, and people just weren't ready to get that from Common because his album, 2 albums previous to that, were the more hip hop centered. Just like what we see Common doing right now. He'll make stuff that kind of experiments and tries the different things he wants to try. And when people don't receive it as well, he typically backtracks and gets back to more of like the fundamentals, right? Like more of the type of hip hop that we associate him with. And I'm never mad at those projects too, but I don't mind Progressive Common either. As long as he's spitting. I don't need Common bullshitting with the bars. You know what I mean? He usually doesn't, but he has had his moments. I will say that. And I'm saying that as a super Common fan. Sherman Cash back on Sub Sundays. If I bring it back in that setting, I don't know if I'd have. I mean, I know their schedule. Part of the reason why we stopped doing the other things we were doing is because of schedule conflicts. So I don't know if it would be in that format. But I would consider having guests potentially. You know what I mean? So I'll just say that. But more so, what I'm thinking for it, if I bring it back, let me show y'all this, and then we'll get out of here for real. So I've been digging up a lot of old media that I have. And so like all of these are not laser disc. All of these are mini disc. Some of these have like unreleased like songs, both things I did with my old group UV, and like Nujabes related stuff, early mixes of To This Union, The Sun Was Born, blends of like rare underground hip hop joints, instrumentals I produced and stuff. Yeah, man, a lot of stuff, substantial songs, Sacrifice Japan edition, like songs that were supposed to be on the original version of Sacrifice when I was still signed to Hideout. So what I'm thinking about doing is in that private joint, going through a lot of my unreleased stuff that I'm cool with putting on Patreon, but maybe not releasing to the public, and using that for like listening sessions where, I answer whatever questions. But then also we can, like, every episode, like maybe I play like 2 to 3 unreleased songs and we give some history and context to what these songs were for, why it wasn't released and stuff, and, all of that. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm seeing as the format going forward. But let me know what y'all think. So I'm the questions guy. Josh was the hype man. Soul Tiger's the chill one everyone likes. I'll take hype, man. Word. I appreciate y'all, man. We all balance each other out. Y'all are dope, man. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna get out of here though. To those of you who hung around this long, y'all are the real MVPs. To those of you who contributed to the channel today, thank you so much. Y'all are the super MVPs. And yeah, man, those of you who contribute, not just financially, contributed to the conversation, thank you so much. On that note, I'm out of here, man. Y'all take care. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you soon. Talk to you sooner. Peace, 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 peace.